Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to the Hoosier Trails Council Joint Scout Night Recruitment Training. We hope that this video will provide you with all the resources and ideas that you need to run a great recruitment campaign this fall for your scouting unit. Please join us in welcoming many of our friends from across Hoosier Trails Council as they share some best practices that can be used during your Joint Scout Night recruitment efforts this season.
Hi, my name is John Rambach. I'm new to Hoosier Trails Council, but I'm not new to scouting. I am a former Cub Master for Pack 108 at Leonard Road Elementary and a former Scoutmaster with Troop 109 in Fishers, Indiana. My wife Cindy and I have recently retired here in Monroe County on Lake Lemon, and we still want to be involved with scouting. Glenn Steenberger and the staff of Hoosier Trails Council has asked me to be a Vice President of Membership and to stay involved to try to help grow scouting in South Central Indiana. So one of the reasons we're here is with COVID-19 and social distancing, we've decided or elected to produce a virtual Join Night Scouting training and to do everything we can online to try to keep scouting going, even though we've tried to stay socially distant. So I'd like you to look at this video and take a look at all the people that are going to be after me in this video clips or montage. And I'd like you to share this with all your leaders in your dens, your packs, your patrols, your troops, your crews, etc. Fall recruitment is a special time for families. School's getting back in session, we hope, this fall. But school will be back either virtually or a combination of face-to-face. And we know it's a great time for packs and troops to get back together as well to enjoy the fall with camping, outdoor activities. And so as we deal with the social distancing and the COVID-19, we want to work with fall recruiting and getting in the swing of things as we work on the new normal in 2020. So after me in this video training, we're going to just have great scouters provide some helpful tips on how to provide fall recruitment with community marketing, how to hold a community carnival join night. We also know that besides recruiting for the Cub Scout packs, that the troops play an important role in supplementing and serving and helping out the pack leadership to work on recruiting. So the Scout troops have a very integral role in that. Also in the fall, as the kids get back to school, we're going to hopefully increase community visibility. Our communications, our school relationship building, we're going to get back together with our schools, our teachers and our superintendents and our principals. And we're going to have a little bit in this training as well on how the Join Scout Night should be run, both virtually and or hopefully face-to-face someday. And anyhow, please stay tuned and watch these video of all these great scout leaders that are going to help us learn how we can do these virtual Join Scout Nights. So why is recruiting families into your unit so important? Well, when we look at the Scout Law points, trustworthy, loyal, all the way through to reverent, and we look at the social interactions, we know that units, packs, and troops are in scouting is important in supplementing and serving our families. They support our families. We teach our kids, these boys and girls, how to be better role models, to become future adults and productive members of our society. And we hopefully in scouting support the parents wanting their kids to grow up and to be important or to be productive citizens. Also, scouting, besides learning some great skills, it's a lot about fun. The kids love to have fun, and we don't sell it to them as that they're getting a lot of all the Scout law and oath and everything like that, but they go into it because it's fun. They don't realize that they're getting a lot of great training and they're getting a lot of great skills and social interactions with other children. So hopefully these skills that they learn, we're going to produce great kids. Also, we know that scouting can change lives in both youth and adults. I was in scouting for a couple of years as a youth. Wish I could have stayed in. I always regret never making Eagle Scout, but I've also always learned that scouting has been important in my life and my development for the few years or the 2 years I was in scouting. And I knew that once I had children, that if they wanted to be involved with scouting, that I would support them. And my kids, 2 sons have been Eagle Scouts and couldn't be prouder on how they've turned out so far in life. So I know how scouting can change lives in both youth in my family and in my troop. So again, please take a look at this training at Hoosier Trails. I'm so proud to try to stay involved. Even though both of my boys have become young adults, I want to stay involved with scouting and support scouting and try to keep scouting strong in Hoosier Trails Council here. So if you could please take a look at this training, the subsequent videos, and please stay tuned and learn about virtual join night scouting, and thank you.
Thank you, John. Next up, we'll hear a short message from each of our council district chairs.
Hi, I'm Dale Harden, District Chair of Muscatatuck District, Hoosier Trails Council, Scouts BSA. Welcome to Scouting. Welcome to the Scouting movement. We are glad that you've joined us. My scouting leadership career began when my son Drew was 7 years old in the 2nd grade and stayed with it for a long time, all the way through Eagle. Along the way, we had a lot of fun in Cub Scouts, craft projects, Pinewood Derby car races, regatta races, campouts. Finally, when we moved into scouting, we had all the fun of camping, hiking, backpacking, summer camps, and everything in between. Scouting offers a way for adults to be able to connect with their children and have a positive influence on their lives. Welcome to Scouting, and welcome to spending time with your sons and daughters. Thank you.
I'm Lloyd DeWar, Wapahani District Chairman for the local Scouts units, and I'm here to welcome you to join Scout Night training. You know, membership is a very important part of Scouting. We need to welcome these boys and girls and to the adventure that they're going to have with Scouting, and we need to do that. We need to have leaders trained, so be alert and good Scouting.
Good evening. I am Mark Young, and I serve as the district chair for the White River Trails District. I enjoyed my time in Scouts when my sons were participants. They both had a great time being part of scouting in our community. So this evening, I want to share my message with you, which is about being prepared for Fall Recruitment 2020. The goal for the district is approximately 400 new scouts to attain growth by the end of the year. It will take a lot of work, but with an all hands on deck approach, the workload will be spread out, making things a little easier on all of us. To begin preparation, units should select a couple key volunteers: a membership chair and a popcorn kernel. The leadership and planning from both volunteer leaders will be important to the success of growing unit membership and ensuring affordability of awesome programming. So start now, and as the Scout motto says, be prepared. I'm Mark Young, Scout me in.
Thanks a lot, guys. Now let's hear from Bonnie Good, who has some really great ideas on marketing your scouting unit within your communities.
Scouting is a great way to get kids involved in the community and to learn self-sufficiency. There's not just one way to reach potential Scout families, so it's important to use as many free options as possible. If you can, develop a relationship with your local newspapers and radio stations. One of the great things about living in a small community is that these media outlets often welcome press releases. Just be sure to include your most important information in the first and last paragraphs, just in case space is limited that day. You can expand on what your program is doing in the middle paragraphs, and just always put your contact information in the last paragraph. Eagle Scout projects and Pinewood Derbies are perfect press release topics because they promote community service, skill building, and of course fun, and it's so important that these families see that we can learn and have fun at the same time. When possible, attach a clear, relevant photograph. If it's a slow news day, your little blurb could turn into an eye-catching quarter-page or half-page article. Just be sure to follow up with a thank you email after your information is published or read out on the radio stations. Now, once you have media pieces, calendars of events, and fun photos showing your unit in action, be sure to share that on your own unit's Facebook page or other social media. Just make sure that you follow BSA's social media guidelines when sharing information about minors. Now, speaking of online promotion, make the most of community calendars that are hosted by banks, chambers of commerce, city departments, and of course visitor centers. You can add your unit's events that are open to the public. This is another free option to show what Scouting does for the community and hopefully piques the interest of some of these families to either join your unit or else support your venture. Church bulletins and local homeschool group social media sites also provide a way for us to spread our message to kids who might not otherwise get our information for Join Scout Nights. Many of our units are chartered by churches, but we don't always ensure that these churches feel ownership in our scouting programs. So including our meeting information in their bulletins and performing community service at these sites adds to our visibility. Now, despite a fairly hardy presence in Indiana, many of our marketing efforts overlook homeschoolers. Find a local Facebook group, for example, and post invitations or other information about your unit, along with a pitch to show how scouting fits in great with these homeschoolers. Modern homeschoolers tend to be very active in communities already, and the adults who are used to teaching children on a regular basis often make excellent scout leaders. Homeschoolers and scouting can go hand in hand because parents often tailor their children's curriculum, and scouting helps teach skills or open discussion that makes education easier. For example, homeschoolers who are also scouts that are earning citizenship merit badges are well on their way to learning civics. Homeschool parents are often sold on scouting when reminded that their kids will cook and sew, especially once they're in their troop. And it's not just homeschool parents that like this. Finally, don't forget a very traditional and very visible method of promoting your unit. Signs! During fall recruitment, the more signs, the better. If you have a large banner promoting scouts, ask your local city hall about putting it up in a public area. This could be a park or even stretching it across the historic downtown streets to make sure that as many families see your signs as possible. Some businesses like to help nonprofits, and they're willing to put your Join Scout Night information on their electronic signs. Now, colorful yard signs can be a cheerful reminder to passers-by of Join Scout Nights, and also your own unit meeting nights. So be sure to place them near schools, churches, and along high-traffic roads, with lots of pedestrian traffic as well as automobile traffic. If possible, work with other units nearby to effectively cover your area without overwhelming any of you. After all, we're all here to promote Scouts together. Marketing Scouting can be an adventure with a huge payoff, the big smiles on our new Scouts.
Great job, Bonnie. Next up is Mr. C. He's going to tell us a little bit about how his troop involves themselves in all the great things that are happening around the community.
Hey Scouters, it's Mr. C from Troop 219, just here to tell you a little bit about my troop. During these uncertain times, we have been meeting virtually for our troop meetings, our PLC meetings, our committee meetings, and almost all get-togethers are done virtually now. Throughout the year, we serve a community dinner for the Martinsville Community Table that serves a free dinner for anyone who is in need here in Morgan County. The boys and I cook chili, cornbread, brownies, and soft drinks. And we have someone in the troop, a young man that plays the piano for our gathering and serenades the diners. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance and an evening prayer. Also, once a year, we do our annual food drive that supports 2 local pantries here in Morgan County, and we routinely gather over 3,500 food items that all stay right here in Morgan County. So in these uncertain times, scout on. Do it virtually, but stay in touch. If all of us work together, we can get through this. Scout on and stay safe.
Thanks, Randy. Now we're going to hear from Clay, who's going to give us some great ideas on what he does to communicate with his families.
Hi, I'm Clay Slaughter, Scoutmaster for Troop 121 and the Crew Advisor for Crew 121. I've been asked to share with you multiple ways to communicate with your Scouts and their families. Each unit is different, so they're going to need different levels of frequency of communication and detail in your communication. So think of these as options that are available to you, and feel free to add your own. Some of our top methods of communication include our website, which we update frequently, emails, which we try to send out multiple times per month, our in-person announcements at the ends of meetings, our Google Calendar, which is integrated into our website and updated frequently, and families can subscribe to it. Also, we have special meetings for scouts who are new to our unit or recently crossed over. We have advancement meetings specifically for scouts who are life, working on earning Eagle rank, and we have other meetings that are dedicated strictly to earning merit badges or rank advancements. We also have Scout Advancement Conferences. Think of these as parent-teacher conferences that involve the scout, the parent, and the scoutmaster, where we sit down and answer questions and figure out what scouts need to do in order to be working on advancement. We also currently use, or have used in the past, video conferences such as Zoom, Skype, or Hangouts, Facebook posts to our private Facebook page, our Twitter feed, which was featured on the front of our website, and phone calls, both direct and a phone tree. Hopefully some of these ideas are helpful to your unit. If you want to know more about how we've implemented these ideas, feel free to reach out with questions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Clay. Those are some great ways to communicate with families. Next up is Holly Barton, who's going to share with us how she uses Scout Book to communicate with the two troops that she's involved with.
Hi, my name is Holly Barton. I've had the pleasure of speaking to many of you in my role as Registrar for the Hoosier Trails Council. For this presentation, I would like to speak to you for a couple minutes as a committee chair for a troop that relies on Scout Book to provide our primary means of communication with our scouts and parents. I hope to give you a few insights on how your pack or troop can use the calendar, messaging, and text functions in Scout Book to communicate more effectively with your members if you're not already using it. This is just going to be a very quick overview. So at the end of this Join Scout Night presentation, if you would like more information on these features in Scout Book, go to the Hoosier Trails Council website and click on the link for the YouTube videos you may be interested in. We have selected videos that break what I'm going to show you here in a few seconds down into detailed tutorials on how to find these features, set them up, enter event information, send messages, select who you would like to send messages for and to, how to send a text, use the Rsvp feature, and so forth. So please go check these out for more information. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is log on to Scout Book and select your dashboard. You go to the normal logon screen. Now the good thing in Scout Book is you can get to these features a number of ways. If you scroll all the way down under the bubble where I am, there's a ability to just hit send, select send messages, and then also to click right into the event function. We're going to go in another way just so that I can show you the whole process. I am a part of two units, so I have them both listed here. I'm going to select the one that I want to go in under. If your unit has events that are populating the calendar, you will see that they will click up here. You can access events, or your parents can, a number of ways. If you click on one of the events, you go right in, you see what it is, when it is, who's the invitees are, and so forth. The other thing that you can do is you can click on the whole calendar. And you can see that the calendar view here, you have the ability to put different calendars on the site because of the room that you're allowed. You can see that the dates are rather squished in there. If you click on any of the dates, you can get a whole list of the things that are happening at that time. Here on June 30th, you can see that our troops have quite a number of things there on the calendar. You can also add a new event here if you want to do that. We're going to just click into that a different way. This is the event screen where you go in to add the event. First thing you want to do is choose a calendar. When you click in there, just like a drop-down menu, you will get your choices that you can pick from. I'm just going to pick Troop 148, Girl Troop, very quickly there. And let's get that in there. And you can see that it populates the screen, puts the girl troop in there and what it is. It gives the event time and place. Now, of course, you have the ability to go in and put a lot more information in there. If it's an outdoor activity, you just click on the little slider button and it'll push that over. If it's an event that involves advancements, you can click on that and you can go through and put in whatever advancements requirement that it is. In this case, we're just going to pick a scout advancement, and when you come back in, it will have the it'll show what the scout rank is and that's what you're going to work on. You can go down, you put more information by the messages. You can then come up here, and if you want to ask for RSVPs, slide the RSVP button over. It will show who it's going to go to. You can, this is just a very basic BSA permission slip. You do have the ability, if you have a venue that has its own permission slip, you can add that into messages later. You can select your invitees from here just by going down a list, and then you can click or unclick who you may or may not want it to go to. And then you can also manage your reminders from here. If you wanted to, if I had this event in now and I say, okay, I want to send this out to everyone, I can click send now. You can also set it to have reminders where you can set it to be a number of hours before or a number of days before. So you can click that and set that in there if you like. So that's basically how you put an event in. It really is very easy. If you just wanted to send a message, and on the calendar too, if you scroll down, as you can see I've done here, we've got 2 different troops on here, and it gives each troop a different color. You could take that further if you had a pack and you had 5 or 6 dens and you wanted to give each den its own color. If you were in a troop and you wanted to give each patrol its own color, you can basically manage as many calendars in here as you might need to. So let's say that you just want to send a message. If you scroll down on the first screen here, you can see where you can just go into the send a message feature by itself. Again, you will get your leaders, your parents, and your youth members up. In a Cub Scout situation, you won't see the youth members for youth protection reasons. We don't send emails to Cub Scouts directly. The emails do go to their parents. Again, if you're part of 2 units, you pick whichever unit you want to send your message to. And then you just scroll down. You can put in your subject, your message. You can choose an attachment if you have a permission slip, if you have a flyer about the event you want to include. Use blind carbon copy is always checked, and it's a good idea because what that will do is it will keep your message from having everybody's email addresses on it. So you want to do that. If you're sending a message and you want to insert an event from the calendar, you can just click on that, and then that comes up. And if you want to include 1 month's worth of dates, upcoming events, 3 months worth of dates, and so forth, you can click that and add it. So if you want to send an email, you get all your information in there, you send an email, and you can do it that way. You can come up here and you can either select all if you want it to go to everyone, and you can do that all the way down. Or you could go back and you could just say, all right, I only want to send this to certain people. And then your email would just go to those people. So you can do that either way. You can also send a text from here. You click on send a text. You do have a limit of 160 characters in the text message, just like a regular text. You type that in there. You put your what you want to say, your message. Now, in order to send a text, your parents do have to have a phone number entered, and they have to enable the text feature. Just because you have phone numbers in there for everyone, and then you try to click text, if they haven't enabled on their profiles in their My.Scouting account or their Scoutbook accounts, if they have not enabled the ability to get text from Scoutbook, they will not do that. There is a video on the website that talks them through exactly, shows you how that they can do this. So you can ask your parents to go in and do that if your unit wants to use the text features. So that is basically about it. There is an RSVP function that I showed you earlier. If you are in charge of the event, you can go into that feature and look and see who has RSVP'd for your event. You can print a list, a roster, use it as attendance at the event if you want to do it that way. We have found Scoutbook to be a very powerful communication tool. Once you get it up and running and you get all your events in there and you're sure you have your email addresses correct and your phone numbers if you choose to use the text option, then you can really use it all the time. We've replaced our regular email listserv with it, and it's been working out really, really well for us. So I hope that you take the opportunity to go look at some of the videos that we've put on the website. There's links there that you can click directly into them to learn more about these features and how you might be able to use them to communicate more effectively with your members. So good luck, and if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to give me a call.
Thank you, Holly. That's good information. If you want to have a great program year, there's two things that you really need: a strong plan and a great calendar that you can pass along to your families. Let's listen to Robert as he tells us how he makes this happen in his scouting unit.
Hi, my name is Robert Bailey, and welcome to a quick discussion on annual planning and calendar development. These two items typically go well together. We would like to discuss quickly about why we do annual planning. First, we do annual planning to make our calendar year successful. Good planning leads to a good program, and a good program leads to a lot of Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and to be retained in your program. Also, it's an easy way to garner additional people as they see that you have a real one program. So how do we do annual planning? Generally, you want to do annual planning in your downtime before you get to your calendar year. For Cub Scouts, I recommend this be sometime during the summer when you are not in your regular day-to-day activities. Generally in the summer, Cub Scouts have a little bit more downtime, vice versa for the Boy Scouts. With your Cub Scouts, what you want to do is find a way to host an annual event. Get your leaders together. In my pack, we have for years now gotten together. I've hosted a meal for them. I brought their families in, let the kids go out and play games. Good time to get your Boy Scout troops involved with a little bit of service hours and running those games for your kids. And then you bring in all of your parent leaders, all of your den leaders, any other leaders that may not be on the radar for a particular role, but tend to come to your monthly meetings and things like that. Bring those people together and then sit down for a while and plan your calendar. This is very important because it leads to improving the overall program. You know, you want to do this, like I said, in the summertime. You want to spoil your leaders a little bit. I typically have a good cookout and have them bring sides, and then we sit down for a couple of hours and do our calendar. So let's talk about some of our calendar items that we would want to have. So quickly, I'm just going to show you some of my calendars that we've done in the past. So here we've got a calendar that's talking about that we did for last September. This allowed us to kind of go through and review the Scout calendar, review the school calendar, review our church calendar, review our community calendar, and make sure that we incorporated all of those events in here. We find that it's much easier to be successful in attendance with your packs if you're able to work your items around major events that occur on the calendar. For example, here we have September. In September last year, we had the Shootery on the 14th and 15th. So we were able to put that on the calendar because that's a council-held event. However, we also have on here that the school dismissed early. And when that occurs, parents are useful for that. So we put the calendar together to have all the things that make a useful a calendar so that parents will want to print this out, put it up on their wall, and use it for their entire family reference. Doing this also lets us put in, hey, look, we have our PAC meetings and our DEN meetings that occur at the same time every week. This is important, I believe, because if you have when your PAC and DEN meetings meet, you'll be able to get kids that are in sports and let them return to scouts on days that maybe they had practices. So in a month or two, when their sport is complete, they can look at their calendar and say, oh, our stuff is meeting here, and I can make sure I can get back in. We also see that we put things like our fall campouts and our some of the other events that are offered around us. You can see in October, we even had our popcorn stuff on there, the We Willows challenges, and holidays. So we have all these things on there so that we can make an improved program for our scouts. Part of what this allows us to do is we can look at the school calendar and we see that, hey, our school calendar in December is out beginning on the 23rd. And hey, the 24th happens to be a normal PAC meeting or DEN meeting night. So we're not going to schedule that on that night, and look, everybody's got it on their calendar. Now, this year it happened to fall on Christmas Eve. Other years it falls during that week. And so we typically don't have a meeting that night because families are busy with their families. So this is a good example. So you see we put this together. We provide some connection to the PAC with pictures and so forth for each month from the things that we've done as a PAC. The other way that we have it is we have it on a Google Calendar. And you'll see here that we also have a different month listed, well, back to September again. And you have all the different times that the meetings occur here. So we are providing multiple ways for our families to be able to be notified of the events that are occurring. So this allows us to put our calendar together. We can kind of look through the community events that happen, any big fairs or festivals that may happen during your annual planning, and make sure you set aside those weekends for the families to be able to go to those things. You try not to set up something on a weekend that's already booked. You have a big town festival that occurs on a given weekend. Don't set a camp out that weekend where you're going to be away from your town. You'll find that you'll have a lot of people that'll miss because they want to go to the fair. So those are some different things that we want to do. And then the other part of the annual planning is let's minimize the amount of time that you have to spend monthly on your meetings. We found that if you provide brainstorming sessions now in the summertime during your long 2 or 3 hour meeting, that you can come up with what you want to do in a given month. So for example, our PAC would put together the items that we would do for our PAC meetings. So where the PAC leads the meeting, we put together, hey, we got a police dog to come in. We did our popcorn kickoff. We had a bear carnival. We set up a dinner with vets. We had a Christmas party. And you see, we even have sometimes when we don't come up with something particular, and we say outside group. So this lets us know, hey, in October, when we're having our monthly meetings, we say, hey, we've got a bear carnival coming up. Bear group, are you ready with your carnival? Is there things that you need so that you can be ready for our PAC meeting? And it leads them to be ready. And then also during that October meeting, I can briefly say, hey, we don't have anything for January yet. We need to discuss that and make sure we can brainstorming and coming up with those groups and not leaving it to the last minute. This allows us, again, to build a good program. And these are just some examples that we have. By doing that, we also are able then to put together a welcome letter. In the welcome letter, we kind of give the basics to our new scouts. Hey, this is when we meet. The first Tuesday is a parent leader meeting. The second and fourth Tuesdays are DEN meetings. The third Tuesday is a PAC meeting. And then here's how we communicate. We have multiple ways generally. We've found that multiple channels of communication is better than a single channel of communication. We have Facebook, we have word of mouth, we have our group uses a Remind app, we do email notifications. So all types of ways that you can communicate with your parents to let them know of the upcoming calendar year. So that's a brief discussion on annual planning and building a calendar, and these are the things that you should look to do or modify to meet the needs of your group to build a successful calendar year for your scouts. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kevin, Cub Master of Pack 196 in Bloomington. I've served in my current role for 4 years, and one thing that I've learned is that good communication with your charter partner is vital, and it helps make our year run smooth. We are sponsored by the Lakeview Elementary PTO, and we meet in the cafeteria at our school each week. Prior to school starting back up in the fall, I like to schedule time to meet with our principal before they get too busy with registration and day one of classes. Sometimes faculty change, so it's important that you know for sure who's holding the position and that you have their current contact information. During this meeting, I share our desire to conduct a recruitment night early in the year and work with them on scheduling a scout talk and a joint scout night for a few days later. It's important that this is carefully reviewed and that you and your charter partner has come to an agreement on making a plan on how you will incorporate this within the school or organization to get the best results. Your pack and the charter partners should work together as a team to conduct and carry out the continuous business of the unit. It makes for an awkward situation if the only time you interact with your charter rep is once a year when you are asking for an approval to use their building and store your gear. To accomplish a strong rapport, I like to find ways our pack can get involved in some of the programs of the school. This accomplishes more than just strengthening my relationship with the school. It also helps in member recruitment, retention, and marketing. Our school puts on several programs during the year, like a STEM night, open houses or meet the teacher nights, Veterans Day programs, carnivals, end of the year parties. The list goes on, and you can bet that Pack 196 volunteers to support for all of these activities. Our school also looks for volunteers to help with class holiday parties and recess monitoring. This is where our leaders and myself can step in to help with the needs of the school. This is also a great way to partner with the school and teachers as a parent and work directly with our children and other students. One activity that I look forward to each year is to put on an American flag etiquette program for the older students who are responsible for the care and display of the school flag and leading in the opening announcements and Pledge of Allegiance before the school day. This is a great help to the school, and it helps to ensure the passing down of this important tradition to the youth. Our pack partners with the school, but these practices are relevant no matter the organization or community that supports you. The main idea is to find a way to connect with your charter partner and come up with a profitable partnership that is mutually beneficial and promotes the scouting program all year. You'll get to know a lot of great people along the way and will become the go-to person when the school or your organization needs a group of dedicated people that can get the job done. One of the best decisions I've ever made is to become a parent and a leader in scouting programs. It's certainly important to have a strong relationship with your charter partner. Next up is Darren Norrington. He's going to tell us why it's important for packs and troops to work together to make scouting happen in the community.
Good evening. My name is Darren Norrington. I serve as the committee chairman of Troop 348 and Pack 329 in Mitchell. My scouting tenure began as a Tiger Cub in this district, and I earned the rank of Eagle Scout. Now I'm serving as a volunteer leader in our community. My wife and I have 2 sons in the scouting program. One is an Eagle Scout, and the other is currently a Star Scout. You may have heard it said that packs and troops need each other to keep scouting alive in the community. Have you ever wondered why it is important for packs and troops to work together? The reason why they need each other is to help with retention of youth and sustainability of scouting in our communities. Leadership from both units should build relationships by maintaining contact with each other and looking for opportunities to share in scouting's movement, especially as new youth enter scouting at the Cub Scout level during fall recruitment. Troops should work with packs to help cultivate relationships with scouts and their parents, taking the opportunity to plant the seed of curiosity in the minds of the younger scouts, leaving them aware of the possibility of participating in scouting once they leave the pack. There is also the opportunity to encourage pack leadership. Many troop leaders who were once involved at the pack level can now pass along knowledge and advice which is helpful and beneficial. Many leaders who were involved in the pack know the challenges current pack leaders face. So, what benefits come from packs and troops working together? Bottom line, when they work together, it's a win-win-win. First, scouts are more likely to remain in scouting when offered exciting adventures from which they learn new skills, build character, and learn to be good, productive citizens. Youth gravitate towards fun and excitement, both of which are provided when units make them possible through awesome program planning. Secondly, both packs and troops have continued opportunity for sustaining the mission of scouting. When both units work towards the common goal of helping youth develop character, leadership skills, and honorable citizenship practices, leadership from both the pack and the troop can appreciate observing scouts progressing through the ranks of scouting and life. Finally, families and communities benefit as scouts use their training in their community daily. No one will argue with the fact that communities will be safer and more productive when scouts are practicing the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. Fall recruitment directly benefits the pack initially, but in the years that follow, troops will also benefit by having larger Webelos dens cross over into their troop. With packs and troops working together to recruit new scouts, this process becomes more of a community effort. By utilizing resources from both the pack and the troop, we have a greater opportunity to reach a larger percentage of the youth in our communities. By working together, we can make the recruitment process easier on our packs and bring the scouting program to more families in our community. My name is Darren Norrington, and Scout me in.
Thanks, Darren. We've all heard the saying that every scout deserves a trained leader and every leader deserves to be trained. Next up is Amber Kent to tell us about how your unit can benefit from the time you invested in leader-specific training and the difference it can make in your Scouts program and your ability to deliver strong outcomes and reach your goals.
Hi Scouters, I'm Amber Kent, the training chair for the Wapahani District. My job is to facilitate proper training of all adult leaders because I know that well-trained leaders equals a better, safer, and more fun scouting experience for scouts and their families. I want to ask all of you to schedule about 2 weeks after the join night, a parent orientation night. Remember, join night is for recruiting the kids, but the parent orientation night is for recruiting the parents. When you're trying to recruit new adult leaders, remember, they are not in this alone. Let them know that there are plenty of training tools, workshops, and online materials they can access, as well as talk to the professional district leaders, as well as the volunteer staff like me, who are here to make their job easier. The first thing you want to do is introduce them to myscouting.org. It's very important that they complete their youth protection training before they lead any scouting activities. Also, you want to encourage them to go ahead and start working on their leader position specific training, which needs to be completed about 6 weeks into accepting their leadership roles. Then don't forget, every month come to the the district roundtables, because that's when they're going to have an opportunity to meet other district leaders, other unit leaders, get help and ideas, and also learn about upcoming training opportunities. I hope to see you guys at the roundtable.
One of our favorite things to do in the fall is going to the schools and conduct Scout Talks. This is a great time. It's not just fun for us, but it's also exciting for the students. This is our opportunity to tell them all the great things that they're going to experience when they join our Cub Scout packs. We get to invite them to an open house, talk to them about the Pinewood Derby, and about some of the great activities that we have planned. We always want to make sure that we give them an opportunity to join Scouts. Hi class, I'd like to welcome Mr. Rsvp to talk to you a little bit about joining Cub Scouts. Please listen up.
Hello, as you just heard, my name is Mr. Rsvp and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Cub Scouts. But before I do, I need your help. So can you help me out?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, here's what I need you to do. I need you to stick one hand up in the air and just kind of wave it around. All right, now stick the other one, do the same, and freeze. All right, on the count of 3, what I want you to do is I want you to take your hands, you're going to make them pause, and you're going to yell out the word pause.
Okay.
Can you do that with me?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Pause!
Perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm now going to tell you a little bit about Cub Scouts and what I find really fun, and hopefully you find fun too. And each time I say something that you think is pretty cool and you'd like to do, I want you to go pause, say it out loud, and put up your hands just like that. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my favorite things about Cub Scouts is something called the Pinewood Derby. Now what's really cool about this is you get a block of wood, all right? Now you may think, well, what's so cool about a block of wood? Well, I'll tell you. You take that block of wood, you carve it up, you put some paint on it, put on wheels, and maybe it looks something like this. Yours may look a little bit different. If you want to carve it like the shape of a truck or like a Ford Mustang, you can do that. If you want to paint it like a rainbow, you could do that too. Then you put your car on top of a track and race everyone's car down to the bottom, and the first one to cross the finish line wins a trophy. It's about that big. If it sounds cool not only to build your own car, but also race and hopefully win, go pause.
Pause.
Great. All right. So another thing that I really love about Cub Scouts is we like to be out in nature. Who likes nature? If you do, go pause.
Pause.
Well, when we're out in nature, we do all kinds of things. Like we go on campouts. If it sounds fun to go on a campout, go pause.
Pause.
Great. Now, while we're on campouts, we do all kinds of things. Like we go fishing and canoeing. If this sounds fun to go fishing and canoeing, go pause.
Pause.
Great. All right. So when we're done doing all that fun stuff, you know, when you go camping, it's time to go to bed. So you set up a tent, get all ready and everything. But before you go to bed, you got to eat and you got to sit by a fire. So if you make a fire, now here's my favorite part, is at the end of eating and everything, you actually get to make s'mores. Now if it sounds fun and yummy to make s'mores and have a fire, go pause.
Pause.
Great. All right. So we do all kinds of things. We make cars, we go out into the wilderness, we do all kinds of fun stuff. Now, if that sounded cool, fun, or interesting, I want you to think about joining the Cub Scouts. Now, this Thursday night at your school at 6:30, we're going to have a meeting. All right, so I want you to repeat after me. This Thursday, at your school, at 6:30.
At 6:30.
One more time. At 6:30.
At 6:30.
This Thursday, at your school.
At your school.
When?
Thursday.
What time?
6:30.
Where?
At your school.
For what?
To sign up for Cub Scouts.
Yeah! Are you guys going to be there?
Yeah.
Great. Now, if you forgot anything I just said, I have this little flyer. And on this flyer, it's got all kinds of information for your parents. If you have any questions, if you can't show up on Thursday, but you still want to join, there's this number that your parents can call, but it's all got all kinds of fun information about the Cub Scouts. This is going out to you, and at the end, I'm going to be giving you a sticker that tells you the same thing. You can put that sticker there, and you can take this, and you can fold it up and stick it in your sock. That way, when you get home, you take off your shoes, you take off your socks, and your mom's like, whoa, what's that? And you're like, this is for Cub Scouts. I want to join. Now, if you guys can do that, go pause.
Pause.
All right. So one last thing before I go, because I think this is the coolest part. If you guys sign up, pretty soon we're going to have something called the shooteree. And at the shooteree, you do all kinds of cool things. Now I'm going to list them off. And after each one, go pause, all right? You get to shoot BB guns. Pause. You get to shoot off rockets way up in the air.
Pause.
You get to throw a tomahawk.
Pause.
Yeah, all kinds of awesome, really cool things that you get to do and more. Now, I got to head out, but I want to thank your teacher for letting me come and talk to you guys. So can you guys also thank your teacher?
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. So remember, this Thursday, 6:30 at your school, you're going to come and you're going to learn about and sign up for Cub Scouts. I'll see you guys all later. Thank you very much for having me come in.
Running an open house has lots of moving parts, and it's important that we don't leave out any of the details. We may only get one opportunity to get families excited about joining our Cub Scout pack. Let's listen to Scott and some of the others about how to run a successful open house for your scouts this fall.
Howdy, I'm Scott Middick, District Executive for the Muscatatuck District, named after this beautiful river right behind me. I want to say thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to watch our Joint Scout Night training video. Now, to start with, you've already learned about all the things to do leading up to your Joint Night. Now we're going to talk about the Joint Night itself. First thing you want to do is think about how you're going to set up the room. Organization is the key. You don't want it to be a jumbled mess of people everywhere. That kind of turns new families off. So the first thing you want to do is set up a table to welcome people in. This is a good place for your new member coordinator or that goofy dad that acts like he's the same age as your Cub Scouts. This is the first impression that your pack is going to have on a new family. The next step, you want to send them to a station where they're going to learn about the pack. This is the place for your Cub Master, your committee chair. Talk about the Pinewood Derby, Blue and Gold Banquet. Any exciting activities you have planned, the camp out, the hike this fall. The next place you're going to send your new families is what we call the registration table. This is where they're going to sit, fill out the application, have any questions answered about what extra fees there might be. Does your pack charge dues? Is it going to cost extra for a Class B t-shirt? Then we move on to the pay station. This is where your treasurer is going to collect all the applications, collect the money for the new scouts, and then we're going to move on to our den leaders. This can be a single table with all the den leaders together. This can be a separate table for each den. The key here, make sure they're labeled with not only the name of the den, but the grade. So you want to have a sign for the first graders that says Tiger Den. That way the people know where to go.
Good evening, I'm Rod Cates. I'm the District Executive for the White River Trails District. And on the heels of talking about great table setup format and also the need to have a sign-in sheet and why that's important, I'm here to talk to you about two key components that you'll want to have as part of your Joint Scouts Night event. First, you'll want to introduce your pack leadership. You'll want to talk about the key responsibilities of the Cub Master, the committee chair, committee members, and your den leaders. Also, you'll want to mention anything you believe that would be helpful for families to know about the leaders, such as, when the pack goes on a camp out, Tom takes care of putting the menu together and buying all the food and then cooking it while on the camp out. Well, we would love Tom, wouldn't we? Well, what's important is that you give the families a picture of how the pack runs. The second key component that you'll want to have ready for your Joint Scouts Night event is to be able to explain why their youth should join Cub Scouts and how scouting benefits families. Here's where you have the opportunity to sell the program. First, talk about how the program brings families together, that parents have a chance to participate in their youth scouting adventures, which includes more than just fun campouts. For instance, you can share with the families what each grade level is called and what some of the activities that each level does. Kindergartners are called Lions. They learn sportsmanship by playing games. They'll know what to do in case of emergencies. They go on field trips and they learn about animals. First graders, known as Tigers, they learn about team building and good nutritional practices. They'll also learn about plants and animals and get the opportunity to identify animals on a long, nice hike. And even in first grade, they get to do a service project, which is emphasizing duty to others. In second grade, which are called Wolves, they learn to tie their first knots, how to fold a flag, take part in more in-depth nature studies, safety in the community, longer hikes, and they get to learn about people with disabilities. And everything gets more in-depth as they get older. Third graders, known as Bears, they get to learn about pocket knife safety. And when they become fourth and fifth graders, they are called Webelos. They get to learn about electricity, how it works. They'll learn about and be able to identify some poisonous snakes and plants. They'll go on a campout with a local older scout troop. They also will gain an understanding of government law. They'll also practice first aid skills and get to work with disabled people as a duty to others is stretched through every age range, plus so much more. Something else that will need to be presented is the initial fee for joining the program and how activities are covered by participating in the popcorn campaign. Explain the reason why the pack sells popcorn is so youth can learn skills such as public speaking, salesmanship, and communication. While they learn these lifelong skills, they are learning their way in scouting, which helps parents keep their own money in their pockets. And should your youth remain in scouting and graduate up to the truth level, they will have the opportunity to participate in high adventure trips such as whitewater rafting, zip lines, week-long summer camp, and have a shot at earning the scouting rank, which is revered by the military. It opens up scholarship opportunities for college, and it could get them in the door to their desired career. Scouting is first and foremost packed with fun and adventure. What follows is an understanding of respect, good nutrition practices, the importance of strengthening family relationships, and citizenship. Make sure they understand that Cub Scouts is a family program.
Great! Now that you've seen how to set up the room on a joint Scouts night, it's time to focus on the parent orientation night. This should be held approximately 2 weeks after the joint Scout night, and it's important that families attend this meeting with their new Scouts. Though this is not a meeting that would interest the new Scouts, it will give them a chance to meet with the youth in their dens and be introduced to their first Cub Scout game arranged by other unit leaders, or better yet, even a Scouts BSA troop. This shouldn't be a long meeting, but it is important to engage the families and request them to help out in some capacity and assume a leadership role. During this meeting, it's also important to discuss the opportunity that is given through the popcorn sale. This helps pay the youth's year in scouting. If you need help running this meeting, there are many local leaders willing to help. That would include a unit commissioner, someone from the troop, or even myself as your district executive. We'd all be willing to help you in this important meeting. This is a critical meeting to bring on new leadership in the pack and keep families engaged, and also, ultimately, to provide great adventures for all the Scouts.
In this training, several great leaders have shared their best practices from communication, marketing, school relationship building, the importance of troop involvement, and annual planning. It's very important that the physical join night run smoothly. It is a chance for you to show off your unit and sell the families on the importance of scouting and what it can do for them. The important documents to give the families on join night is critical to start to get them engaged. Of course, there's the application that you need to make sure that you keep in your possession and turn over to your district executive. There's the Boys Life magazine to help them decide if they would like a subscription delivered to their home in their son or daughter's name. It has been proven that if a family opts to receive that in the mail, they are more likely to stay engaged in the program. Another important item you want to make sure that goes home with the parents is the parent orientation guide. This will walk them through the introduction to the Cub Scout program. At your annual planning meeting with your district executive, they should have introduced you to putting together a unit budget. This is instrumental in calculating for the families what scouting will cost them and the importance of selling popcorn to pay for their ideal year in scouting. This will give you the opportunity to touch on the popcorn sale to be discussed at a later time. At your summer planning meeting with your adult leaders, your committee should have come up with a unit calendar. This can be a Word document, a printed calendar, whatever form you're comfortable with, but it should include your school's activities, breaks, council and district events, and how your unit meetings and activities will fit around them. This will give the families, new and existing, specific dates and events to keep in mind throughout the year. Finally, but very important, there's the unit contact sheet with all the key leaders' names, positions, and contact information. The number one reason why families leave the program has been stated that they don't know who to contact or weren't informed of the activities units were having. If they have this list, they can reach out to their den leader, cub master, committee member, and makes them feel more comfortable in being a part of the family. I hope this training has proven helpful and you'll discuss it with your district executive and your unit leadership. A successful join night is the kickoff to a great popcorn sale, a fun year for the youth, and an opportunity for the parents to see their boys and girls engage and grow and take advantage of what our great program has to offer. Once you've completed this training, email me with JNST 2020 in the subject line so we can record your completion for the Platinum Journey to Excellence. Thank you, and now a final word from our Council Membership Chair, John Rombach.
Hi, John Rombach back here. Again, I want to say thank you for listening and learning a lot about the virtual Join Night Scouting training. I just wanted to, hopefully you'll have some takeaways from this, and it'll help you do better school relationship building. This will improve your communication. It'll improve the marketing of your pack or your troop. Again, there's so many resources out here. The district commissioners, your district chairs, your district committee people, and of course your district professionals, the district executives, or DEs as we call them, they're out there to serve you and to help you. So there's all kinds of marketing tools. There's resources out there. Please make use of us. We're out here to serve you. And hopefully you'll have a great virtual Join Night Scouting training this year. Again, thank you for listening, and have a good night recruiting. Thanks. Bye.